Hello and welcome back to the Winding Down podcast. This show is sponsored by exclusively Exquisite PR Firm, where the owner and founder is Nicole M. Jordan. And we're back at you once again with another star-studded episode. And so we will be joined live in a few minutes by celebrity publicist herself, Nicole Jordan. And today we have a special guest, by the way of the Midwest, Kansas City, Missouri, Miss Shyvana Adams, singer, songwriter, community activist, artists, all artists of all types of sort, not just music, but artists, paintings, drawings, a vivid imagination that try to, reels the children in as well as to give them a opportunity to be creative, to use their imagination through the form of artwork. So, Miss Adams, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing, King Jacob?
I'm great. I'm great, man. So, the conversation we had earlier today was very interesting about your artwork. So, before we get into your whole music journey, I want to get into your artwork and how you enhance the creative minds of the youth and how you really put that out there and you've been nationally recognized as well. So let's go into your art journey first.
I've been drawing since I was 4 years old. And so art is a huge piece of my puzzle in life. And coming from where I come from, which is the east side of Kansas City, which is poverty ridden, regrettably, crime ridden, still to this day. Art was a way, an outlet for me as a youth. And my grandmother allowed my sister and I to be creatives and make videos and make music and I mean just everything. And it was a way to escape from some of the circumstances of my life and the environment that I grew up in. And so as I got older, I wanted to use art as a tool, um, much the same as I used it for myself for children. So I started a Stop the Violence initiative called Start the Arts. And one of the projects that I used with Start the Arts was to create a coloring book for Black and brown children called I Love My Hair. It was sponsored through the Charlotte Street Foundation. I was awarded a grant through the National Endowment of Arts, and the program went throughout the Kansas City area. I was able to place the coloring books in different barbershops and schools and provide it for teachers. But the book is a teaching mechanism for children to learn to appreciate their ethnicity through their hair.
Hmm. Very interesting. So now, when you first started this program, just enlighten me a little, from scratch. Um, as far as getting your mission statement, getting your business plan, getting your strategic marketing plan, and providing the necessary things that you need to do through the city of Kansas City. So did you connect with your local chamber of commerce and any of the city councilmen, the mayor, or city councilmen, or anything like that as well?
So Charlotte Street really helped spearhead the initial birth of Start the Arts by creating a community coalition. And with the community coalition, it was full of business people, persons who worked in other Stop the Violence initiatives throughout Kansas City, poets. We had a writer involved, and so we had a mirror of community leaders that came together to create a board of directors for me to guide me. And then the Kansas City Library allowed us to utilize the space to actually implement the program. And the program really it is based on setting goals and principles, teaching children how to goal set, teaching them how to create economic wealth through their art, becoming a social entrepreneur like myself, and utilize their art, but still to make some sort of social statement or difference. And so Charlotte Street, through the grant, I was able to establish a lot of the funding and the programming through it. Regrettably, COVID right now has kind of shut down some of the functionality of the program, but I'm hoping that with everything turning around and numbers looking a little better in the country, I'm able to start those programs back up.
Okay, so with that being said, for you and challenging youth, and um, as far as you having the mission statement, the business plan, the strategic marketing plan, and you reaching out to community leaders and school teachers, and which reaching out to the school teachers are very important. And
Yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
with that being said, for them to embrace the body of work that you have put together to enhance the youth and to kind of really evolve their teaching skills when it comes to the inner city youth, which
That's
they
right.
may not understand. And so
And
you
one of
give,
the that was one of the premises of that of the book King Jacob was I saw an article where a kid got suspended because they had braids or dreads, something that's natural to us, right? It's our natural hair. And I thought about this book being a teaching moment for those who are non-minority, to be able to see the beauty in our different styles and understand that we carry a heritage with our hair. It means something when the guys go to the barber shop. You talk politics, you talk religion, you talk what's going on in the community. There's a cultural stronghold that it has surrounding our hair, much the same when we go to the beauty shop. And so it's a teaching tool so that people can start to understand. Don't suspend me because I have a natural. It's literally my hair, and to take some of that bias away that people often hold when they see a person of color embracing their hair.
okay. So um, upon doing um, this entrepreneurship, becoming a community activist and a community advocate as well. Um, so you started a nonprofit as well.
The Start the Arts is not non for profit. It's a
Mhm.
social entrepreneurship. So one of the things that I wanted to teach kids is that you can take a cause and you can utilize it to fund yourself if necessary. One of the things that's important though is to partner with a ministry or a business that is a 503, and allow them to help fund what we would call like a project that would be valid for both entities. For example, my mom has a non-for-profit organization here called Outcry Ministries. And it's for those who, it's a teaching and coaching for those who are overcome drugs and alcoholism. And her non-for-profit, I would write a proposal to for a program or a grant, and we could work together where my business could implement the things that she needs for, an art project, etc., a mural or something like that throughout the community. So non-for-profits definitely play a role in assisting me with my company when I want to use my gift to make a social statement.
Okay, so with you having that type of gift, and God giving you that vision, so do you have put together in place an advisory board as well, or do you have a board of directors?
Well, at the time, they were more like, uh, I would say an advisory board.
Hmm.
But at this time, I haven't been able to do anything with it because COVID shut down a lot of stuff, and we were doing more community projects. And so we had where we would have the library full of in the auditorium, and then and on one side we'd have a chef teaching people how to cook, and then on the other side we were teaching kids how to build goals, and they were doing art projects. So we had a large scale kind of deal going on, and with COVID, regrettably, we weren't able to be as active in the community as we were. So I'm hoping that things definitely pick back up for us.
So did you guys apply for some money through the SBA, the Small Business Administration, because you wasn't able to do those functions during the time of the pandemic when the numbers was in an uproar? Because there is some
No,
money that you guys can get. They have the COVID-19 relief fund for businesses, and
Charlotte
they
Street
get
did offer
they
that. Charlotte Street did offer that, believe it or not, King Jacob. They because Charlotte Street is here to fund artists and artists like myself who do social entrepreneurship. They had available a relief fund, but at that time I did not go out for it or anything like that. My
no
hope,
what I'm asking is, as far as your company being registered with an LLC or S
I'm
corp
getting
or an corporation, they do have those that money out there for small businesses through the Small Business Administration. I just received
those who struggle through, yeah.
right. They did another relief fund for about $5 billion, not even 2 weeks ago.
No, I
So
did. I didn't. I'll be honest with you.
I can definitely send you the information.
Okay, I would love that. I mean, like I said, my hope is for it to come back roaring, especially since we took quite a bit of a hit with the opportunities that we had going. So I hope that it comes back flourishing fairly soon.
Right, right. So tell us about you have a couple books out on Amazon, correct?
That's correct. So I love my mom. I did a smaller version for the Charlotte Street program,
Hmm.
but I love my mom is now available on Amazon. It's 30 pages. I'm sorry, I love my hair is the 30-page book, and then I have I love my mom as well, and it's to highlight the beauty in the Black and brown mothers and their roles in our life. And it features my own mom. I dedicated a page to her, and so both books are amazing tools. They're learning tools, and they're images of Black and brown children and families, which I think is much needed.
Okay, okay,
Positive
okay.
images.
That's great. That's great. You
And
have a
created
book.
all by me, done all by me.
Okay, okay, okay. So upon working with this program right here, what other programs have you done with that same organization that you was just implying?
Well, with the Charlotte Street Foundation, those are the two things that spawned from it on my end. But I also work with different organizations here in Kansas City, like Healing Pathways. Each year, I would go there and sing for the children of homicide victims. And there's another house here in Kansas City that I work with and go and sing for the children, etc. So there's a few ministries throughout Kansas City that I go and I lend my art or time to as well to make sure that I'm staying connected to my home base and making sure I make a difference throughout my community with my music or my art.
Okay, okay, great, great. Sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful. So let's talk about who is Shyvana Adams when it comes to your music journey. Who is Shyvana Adams? What should we know about her? So, who are you when it comes to the art form of music, music ties, and just a artist in that music realm, and a songwriter in that music realm, a vocal coach, uh, 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 you know, and a music arranger. Like, so, who is Shyvana Adams?
Well, I come from gospel music to begin with, and so I love music. I am a soul singer. So if you define me, define my genre, I sing soul music. And starting in the gospel industry, I actually started in a gospel group here in Kansas City and was able to sing and tour and meet some wonderful heavyweights in the gospel industry from Walter Hawkins, Daryl Coley, Israel, and really gain my footing in soul music and gospel music mirror so much in the way there's delivery and there's power. And so that was my start. And then I spawned into more of the R&B neo soul scene here in Kansas City, and I've been doing that for about a decade plus. And I've had the opportunity to work with and open up for some really major artists throughout
So,
the
but before you get into that,
Hmm?
let's talk about that realm that your grandmama put you in with the
Yes.
gospel music. Yeah, let's not surpass that,
Okay.
and just let's just talk about how she did it, and how important it was to her to have you understand what your spiritual growth
Mm,
would mean to you in your future, and understand that this spiritual growth gives you a gift of song and a gift of enlightenment
mm.
that make people smile through the praises of God. So let's talk about, how this group got started and how it was formed, and let's talk about the conversations that you had with your granny when it came to that gospel
Yeah.
music.
Well, I just remember her like being in the living room. She had a little small organ. My grandmother raised me. Let me preface that. My grandmother raised me and my sister, and she was absolutely amazing. And I just remember her saying, "Open up your mouth and sing." And I think the first time her and my mom realized the gift that God had given me was at my 10th grade graduation. My music teacher, Mr. Tony Fishback, came and he got me off the playground and he brought me into the auditorium and he said, "What song do you like to sing around, the house?" And then I remember singing "Having You There" by the Mississippi Mass Choir by myself at my 10th grade graduation and getting a standing ovation. And it was just that pinnacle moment of realizing that how rooted I was in gospel music. Still am rooted in gospel music, but my grandmother, it was very organic the way that she taught me gospel and the hymns. And it just came from us sitting around the dining room table. She was very connected to her sisters and brothers. And so all of my aunts and uncles would be there and we'd just be singing. And I guess the biggest lesson that she taught me was just to open my mouth and sing. And she created an environment for my sister and I. I went back and talked about that, but she created an environment that was free for the gift, and it was allowing us to be able to utilize our talents. And she didn't squelch that or step on it. She just let me be myself as a child and open my mouth and sing. And I'll forever be grateful for that.
Okay. So upon forming the group, and do
Oh,
you
so
feel?
the group came from church. When I got to another church, pastor by the name of Keith Tribbett and the Elements of Faith, who were already Grammy nominated, took this little 15-year-old girl in and allowed me to sing with them and tour with them. And it was an amazing teaching tool because they loved God and they understood studio and recording and dialect and breathing techniques. And so they taught me a great deal about stage and presence. And they're
Mhm.
phenomenal. And so to this day, I love them and the Tribbett family. And so that's where I kind of moved into more of a professional way of doing my music was through the Elements of Faith.
So you definitely connected with music royalty when you're talking about the Tribute family, for sure. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's gospel music royalty. So
Oh yeah.
okay, okay. So upon that, how much were you on the road as a child?
Well, because I was still in school, the times where they would travel like overseas, I didn't get to go. But
Okay.
maybe when there were things regionally and things like that, I was always with them. And they make sure I get home and make sure I do my homework. And I had to go to Bible study with them. And so I think I was in the group well into my teen years, just up until I got married early. So yeah, it was quite a bit of an experience and it was wonderful.
So do you still have a lot of gospel people reach out to you as far as additional vocals and stuff like that?
You know, outside of things that my mom may want for her ministry, like a song or two, or my sister may want for her ministry, regrettably, I don't do much in the way of gospel anymore. Although in my writing now, even through soul music, I'm always making sure to deliver the message of God, because I think they mirror one another very closely. So I still stick close to the vest and making sure that God comes through my music and my beliefs in Him.
Well, the reason why I asked you that is because I'm familiar with all business of the music, been in it for a while, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that through song and through writers, that people like The Dream and T Pain and Jamie Foxx, and
Oh
when R.
yes.
Kelly was out on the bricks, he wrote for a lot of, like, these people write for a lot of gospel artists as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, KC and JoJo write for gospel artists.
Yeah.
They actually, the Haley family. That's Casey and JoJo, Fantasia, and Anthony
Yeah.
Hamilton. And so, all of them are, you know, sister and brother children. So, with that being said, if people in the South know anything about the state of North Carolina, the Haley brothers' daddy was the biggest bishop in the state of North Carolina. So
Wow.
they come from gospel royalty as well. And so, they actually write for a lot of different people in the gospel industry, as well as, Fantasia sang a lot of different verses and a lot of different hooks. And so that the gospel royalty and the ones that came from gospel that's in secular, they are still connected with gospel. So that's
Right.
why I asked you that.
Yeah, I mean, outside of anyone coming to me from the industry standpoint, that's why I said, even though I'm not necessarily approached for gospel or for gospel songs, in my writing, my grandma would say in your living, but in my writing, I try to still make sure I'm writing a song right now called Better Days, and I'm making sure that I'm delivering the message of God in that, regardless, and talking about that there's better days coming, and depending on God. And so even though I lean more towards the soul music, party music, I still want people to know my roots and who God is in my life.
Mhm.
And I, do that through my music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. 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 So, you was able to do something that a lot of people didn't do at the age of 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So you was able to enter a music forum that taught you about the music business. You seen how it went down, and
That's
you was
right.
able to be there with godly people
Oh
who
yes.
didn't mind teaching you, who didn't mind keeping you vesseled up, within the word of God while you're showcasing your gift to the world.
That's right.
And so, with that being said, once you went on to get into secular music, the soul music, and how did that journey with the gospel music help you navigate through secular music?
Well, I look at soul music like a way to tell my story, and I think of gospel music as a way to tell God's story. But I don't see them as too far apart.
Right.
Um, Passion in soul music is delivered because the majority of us come from the church. We're just telling a bit of our story through it. And so for me, being the quintessential soul singer, um, I didn't find difficulty in merging into it, because a lot of the things that I talk about are relative to everybody. And again, I definitely still try to incorporate some form of something that makes people understand that I'm relating to you, I'm telling you my story, but God is in it, and God is a part of it. And
Hmm.
so now I'll be honest with you. Is it more difficult for people to accept you doing it? Yes. Actually transitioning from soul music to soul music from gospel for me was not difficult, but there were people that wanted me to remain in the gospel side of things, and they were vocal about it, and I was okay with that, and I understood that. But I know I had to live my truth, and I know that for me with music, I wanted to tell a bit of my story, and you do that through soul music. And
Okay.
so I
Okay.
just had to be okay with that.
Okay. So upon transferring to soul music, um, let's talk about your very first recording before you started gigging. Like, what was your very first recording, and what was that experience like for you with doing the soul music, and what type of place were you at mentally and emotionally upon making your first soul record?
So I kind of dabbled in like some music recording and things like that early on. I was married, and so I was young, still early in my 20s. But after kind of filling the waters with some like little demo work here and there, and I really wanted to cut real records. My first real record is called Live to Regret. And the song is essentially about a man who wants to walk out on a woman, and she's like, that's fine, but ain't no turning back. And so the thing that I personally experienced through Live to Regret, and even that whole album, the whole mixtape, the journey that I went on was to find the balance between telling my story and and finding fun records and entertaining at the same time. So Live to Regret is probably the most raw. I had a lot of emotion in that EP, so it probably has the most raw records that I have. I mean, and what I mean is like, throw your shoe up against the door kind of stuff.
Right,
So,
right, right.
so
And
my first records were, yeah, they were pretty real. I mean, they still
very,
are, but
okay, so they was very raw and uncut, as we would
yes.
say. Okay, so upon that, those records that you first recorded,
Mhm.
would you ever get those digitally remastered and release them again?
There's one that I did, and it's actually a take on the Bobby Womack. If you think you're lonely now, I threw it on there. That's definitely one that I'm looking to. It's called the Side Chick Anthem. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely one that I am hoping to throw through a clearance house somewhere to possibly gain some legs, because it's been rediscovered since I've been out on the road nationally, and people have loved it. And I'm like, man, I really got to put that out as a real record. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one. Live to Regret has been a fan favorite for over 8 years. That's definitely one I would love for people to gravitate toward as well. There's a record on there called Cuss You Out. That's a great soul record. So that first EP, it was called No Regrets, has some really, really great records on there. Something I'm very proud of.
Okay, okay, okay. So upon recording that, we talked about you having some connections in the music industry that allowed you to open up for people like a Vaughn
Mm-hmm.
and people like the Johnny Gills, and people like the Tonys, and just artists that people love. So upon recording some of those earlier records, you know, um, who did you have the chance to really open up for and really connect with, as far as on tour with?
You know what? I never got that opportunity.
Okay.
And it would have been something that I would have loved to do, but it was kind of there was a little bit of a challenge here. There's really a little bit of a challenge here in Kansas City, if I can be candid tonight. And really what it is it's not an Atlanta, LA, New York market. And so as a talent in Kansas City, you have to kind of navigate the waters outwardly to shine the light in our market, because it's just not seen, and the talent is here. But I did not find the success that I've been having lately until I I left and started traveling.
Mm,
So regrettably, although I had the opportunity to meet some wonderful artists and open up for them and do background work for them and all kinds of things, regrettably, there was no connection, no train that comes through here that says, okay, there's artists in Kansas City. Let's send some PR their way. Let's send some marketing guys their way. Let's send some A&R their way. It's far fetched and to do it just straight out of Kansas City.
Right.
It's actually better to kind of travel outward and then just shine the light back into Kansas City. It's the current state here.
Okay. So upon changing over to cellular, so you was able to open up to people that came to the city for concerts, correct?
That's right. That's right. I mean, and everybody, I've been on almost every stage here in Kansas City, and it's been phenomenal. And I was grateful for those experiences too.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So upon doing this, you kind of handled your own business. You didn't have any management, any PRs, or anything like that.
That's correct. A true
That's
India.
interesting. That's interesting. So we gonna we gonna chime in on that a little bit. Upon you learning the business as you go, um, upon all those late nights scratching your head and having these what we call music headaches. Um, so let's talk about how you infrastructure those late nights and how you got to understand the business as a whole with it coming at you so fast. Because once you're a phenomenal singer or artist, period, a lot of things come at you when people see you on that stage, and
Oh yeah.
everybody start blowing your phone up. So upon upon everybody started calling you and wanted you to do this, that, and the third, did you not understand the type of paperwork? Like you was like somebody wants you to sing as additional vocals. Then you got the split sheet. You got to sign the contract. You got to see whether you're getting off the record or what type of royalties you get. Like for your additional vocals, are you getting 15%? Are you getting 20%? Are
That's
you
right.
getting 9%? So upon understanding that right there, tell me about you really learning the business. Because you didn't have management, or you didn't have an attorney, or you didn't have any legal aid or a music consultant. So tell me about you learning the business, and was it difficult for you, or was it just nerve wracking a lot of times?
Well, the first thing I knew is that I needed to understand the paperwork side of things. I actually use a lot of artists that have come before us. If you watch Prince, Michael Jackson interviews, those two artists tell you a lot about the pitfalls of the current state of the music industry.
Right.
What's important to look for in record contracts, what the label's role is, etc. So I knew immediately that I'd have to understand it. But the first thing I learned was about copyright, how to protect
Uh-huh.
my work.
Uh-huh.
Understood whose role was what, and a split sheet. Those were the first two things that I understood right away, because when you create a work, you want it protected. And then there's moving parts to it. There's the intellectual properties, there's the mechanical properties, what stake the engineer has in it, is there an executive producer? So those core things I had to learn first. There's some wonderful books out. Donald Passman has an amazing book. All you need to know about the music industry is a good start. And just finding good counsel and not in everybody, but in some key people in my life. An engineer that's been my engineer forever, a producer that's been my producer forever, more than a decade for both of our relationships, and those people giving good counsel throughout the time of me really gaining legs in this situation that I'm in now, with music going everywhere and people loving it. Just having a core team of people that give good counsel. And if they don't know, they say, okay, Shyvana, well, this is a good way to find out. The other thing is legally just not signing anything that, I mean, without good counsel and a good attorney. That's a really good practice. So you don't get caught up in signing away your masters or signing away your work or your copyright to anybody. So you want to read and you want to learn the business first. you can get that down pat, understanding intellectual properties, mechanical properties, what role the booking agent plays, what role the manager plays versus the business agent. I mean, there's all sorts of variables. But what I did was I took the time to, and I'm still learning, took the time to start to understand, but I'm still on a journey of understanding as I go. But I take each time that I come into an adversity to study that and to understand some principle behind what I'm doing. If I'm sending out my music, is it registered on ASCAP? I have an ASCAP, which, ASCAP versus BMI. So just gaining the core understanding, the core values of the music business is the first thing I would tell anybody as an indie artist, because we're behind the grain when it comes to a lot of things, because we don't have the label or the big machine, Bob Smith just telling us what to do. So you have to be savvy, right? And, learn for yourself. So it's a lot of studying, and it's a lot of having good mentorship and a good team of people and it doesn't take a bunch of people to tell you either, King Jacob. Just a few good core people that maybe are already in the industry and have had some major success to give you valuable tools that you can kind of use as you go.
Right. Okay. So I hear a lot of artists that say that they're going to stay independent. Okay. I said, okay. They're like, I don't want to sign on label. I said, okay. So they said, what do you think, Mr. Jacob? Or what do you think, King Jacob? I say, well, it depends on what your mindset is and what you can do with if you should sign with a label, what you can do with the money that they would give you upon signing.
Yeah.
So, to get a little, you got to give a little. They said, what does that mean? What does that mean, Mr. Jacob? I was like, well, that means that a label is not going to give you 1.5, 1.3, 1.7. You got to give up some of those masters. They was like, well, how much? I said, normally, if they giving you that much money, the label, nowadays, they're more lenient towards you as a brand, as an artist. But way back when, like, people don't know that a lot of times back then, if they give you one, like, okay, the leaders of the new school got $1.8 million back in the day, Buster and his group. Buster said that they had to give up masters. The label kept 70%, they kept 30. He said, but he said the reason why he's not broke today, because the leaders of the new school invested well. He was like, it was like before the label could even book them a tour, they already took $100,000 of that money and had a 70-city tour set up within 3 weeks.
As long as you don't have a 360 where they get some money off of that too.
Right. So he said, upon that, man, he was like, he said, artists got it wrong, man. I just seen him do an interview. He said, artists got it wrong. He said, to have your foot in the door some and to have it in the door none is two different things.
I'd rather actually invest in myself, though. Like, there's all kinds of crowdfunding sources and everything like that. And so my goal is to bankroll myself. The reason why a lot of people go to the labels, like you said, is because of the starving artist syndrome, where I need the money up front and so that I can actually make it. And then, of course, they have other perks when it comes to the big machine, because they have record industry access, and they have radio access that would, trump the average indie. And they have their foothold now a lot on the streaming platforms with the streaming farms and things like that, where it can make it look like an artist is selling 500,000 copies of a song because it's been streamed 500,000 times, when really it's just been repeated 500,000 times, which is not the same as selling 100 million albums like Michael Jackson did, where they physically had to go in and buy the copy. And so, streaming itself looks better than it actually is when it's just playing the song on repeat. And people are
Right,
going,
right,
oh
right,
my
right.
God,
Yeah,
that person
yeah,
has
yeah,
1 million
yeah.
followers. No, they don't. They've repeated their song 1,000,000 times and it looks good.
So see, Siobhan, this is what I'm explaining to you. This is what I'm gonna say with you. I can see you saying you want to stay independent, do it yourself, but at the same time, what you have in mind as sharp as your mind is, you can take some money and flip it in a way where you're rich
I do
forever.
want a distribution deal.
You know what I'm saying? So you can take that one. Okay, you can take that 1.5 million. They say, okay, Miss Adams, we're gonna give you 1.5 million. We want 3 albums from you. Here's the percentage. Here's the breakdown. There's going to include music, TV, and film, video games. There's going to include soundtracks, even appearances on major networks like a soap opera. Your music be introduced on General Hospital and such and such. So,
King
so now,
Jacob,
listen. A younger person would say, "Oh my God, that's a lot of money," and they were scoring off. But a person with accountability, a person with that's business savvy in society, they can they can take their 1.5 million and turn it into 50 million.
but can I tell you something? I wouldn't take it because
Okay.
the catalog is really what makes the industry go. And so I
Okay.
want songs. I want my songs. I
Okay.
mean, of course, the catalog has to be valuable. And if we study, like I study Michael Jackson because he was brilliant as an artist, but he was
Uh-huh.
savvy when he got into Sony ATV money, like nobody's business, because he understood those catalogs were money. The only reason the labels want the masters is because the masters are the money. It's the
Uh-huh.
original where all of the rest of the songs spawn from. So if the masters are the money, I'm going to hold on to those because that's the treasure. It's just I've got to make music that makes the catalog worth the money. I
That's
don't
true.
want a catalog of trash. I have to make a good, strong catalog in order to value the catalog as my leverage. Now, a distribution deal, I'll definitely take, and placement for radio and placement for TV shows. And if you brought me a Netflix deal where you said, Shyvana, can you write the theme song to the next original Netflix television show? Of course I would, because that's mailbox money. But giving up my masters or being concerned about doing 3 albums with the record label, no, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
But I'll take
But
a publishing. I'll take a publishing deal and
but
definitely
what
like
what I'm saying for artists that think that it's not been artists they took these deals and didn't make money, you're wrong. Because I can tell you one right now
oh
that
yeah.
paid like 50 Cent paid everybody off. Dr.
Oh.
Dre, Eminem, and Jimmy Iovine. And like so the brilliance of Curtis Jackson is he understood business.
Oh
He
yeah.
he understood that M gave me this 1.8 million when I first signed. So let me invest 25% in the vitamin water. He
Yes,
understood business.
diversified. But he
Yeah,
had to
like
do it. He had to do it with another product. Regrettably, most of the
right,
artists that are moguls are doing it with other products. Rihanna is a billionaire because her makeup is amazing. I'm wearing it right now.
right, 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 right.
Jay-Z got wine and all kinds of business. Kanye, Yeezy shoes, etc. So these artists actually curved and took their image and they made monies somewhere else. That's why I said bankroll yourself, and then you don't have to be subject to the label. If you had the money, you wouldn't ask anybody to give you anything. You could afford your videos at a high quality. You could afford your
Mm-hmm.
music being recorded at a high quality. It's really the starving artist syndrome as to where the artist needs someone to bankroll them. And that's
So
why they go to the labels, because the label is essentially a bank. It fronts
right,
the monies.
of course. And then we can take,
There
you
you
know,
go.
we can take Percy Miller, for instance. Percy,
Yes.
he told the label, listen, I'm gonna make you rich, you're gonna make me rich, but I keep 85%, you keep 15.
Yes.
And now the owner at the time that owned Priority Records, he said he's never seen this happen in his life. And he says like how he was able to maneuver businesses, not just the music businesses, but 12, 13 different businesses at one time. He was like, you know, it's like 50 say, I didn't go to Harvard, but I have people who graduated from Harvard working for me. You know what I'm talking about? So with that being said, I just think a lot of artists outweigh the business part of it. And, you know, I mean,
there's no wrong to it. Like, if there's an indie artist that decided to sign, I don't think there's a wrong method to success in this industry. Conventional, unconventional, or otherwise, my goal mainly is to focus on good music, because that part cannot be denied.
well,
People will give you the world based on that if they could. So I think that making good music is the first real investment that I make in any decision. But I think for myself, it just, to me, remaining indie means no one shelves me. I'm not subject to anyone.
Oh, they ain't gonna shelve you no way. What?
But they do. They still shelve people. Like, I think record labels right now are signing up to 50 to 70 people on average a week if they could.
Yeah. Okay, listen. Listen. Your music. Your music. Listen to me really good. Your music has a different aura. It has that 80s, that 90s feel. You can take it back to the 70s, 60s. Like, your music have the type of music that somebody like a Leon Cohen or a Jimmy Iovine or somebody like a Clive Davis be like, oh, she remind me of such and such. Man, she just took me back. I need to go have a glass of cognac right now. You know what I'm talking about? So a lot of times the music that they put out nowadays is teeny bopping music. You know what I mean? It doesn't have conviction. It doesn't have feeling. It doesn't have that aura. Be like, man, I shouldn't have said that to her. I gotta call her right now. You did what I'm talking about? Like, that's that music that makes the mind evolve as well as it make the heart flutter. You know what I mean? So
I mean, labels still have a place. Like I said, a distribution deal, own it.
Right.
SoundCloud distribution deal, own it. Let's
go. So let me ask you this. We gonna throw Jay-Z out there. Jay-Z don't sign people to his label. Jay-Z do partnerships.
That's right. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So would you be interested in partnerships?
It would just have to depend on what they're talking about when it comes to the masters and
oh, no. The partnership don't got nothing to do with your master, sweetie. The partnership is a partnership. You know what I mean? It's the breakdown of percentage. Your masters is your masters. It's just a breakdown of the sales, the royalties. It's the breakdown of the touring. You know, it ain't got nothing to do with your masters.
As long as I'm at least 70 to 75% above what that person would want to come in with, I'm Gucci.
But, I mean, you think you think about it. You can get 70, 75%. Like, the 25% that somebody like Jig could get, he gonna flip that thing so many times till it might be $2 billion sitting in the corner. You know what I mean? So you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I think that partnerships would be good for you now. As far as you though, you're just a great talent. And I'm believing in that because I can actually talk about it all day.
And it's funny to have this conversation. It's so wonderful to have it with you openly because there are artists in my position right now that are navigating the waters between what they want because there's so many different tools accessible. You go back 30 years ago, there was no such thing as an artist promoting themselves or streaming themselves or any of them. There's so many tools now for an artist that, I mean, the world is really our oyster. But to have this conversation has been enlightening even for me because it's still something that I have to consider as my music grows. And so I appreciate the details that you provide and the information you give. Artists need to hear that. We really do.
Right. And so with you being a writer, a lot of people don't know that when Neo was on Atlantic Records,
I love Neo.
Before we heard him sing, at 19 years old, Neo signed a publishing deal for like $9 million. You know, the Dream. It used to be the Dream, Blue Cantrell, and Carrie Hilson. That was
Seven Streeter is an amazing writer too.
right.
Yeah.
And you know, they had this coalition of songwriters together. And what people don't know, the Dream, Blue Cantrell, and Carrie Hilson wrote amazing songs, man. You know, and they was up under that tutelage by Babyface. You know, he mentored them. You know what I mean? And so, like, you see L.A. Reid and Babyface, they wrote
Yes.
for a lot of people. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So you know that's why you have the LaFace brand that's always going to be crazy. And so, and just like you, I was listening to your records, Baby Be Baby Be Mine, and Stepping, and you
Yes.
know a few of your other records as well. So let's um let's talk about your current record. I call it a feel good record. You know, that's that record where, you know, you got your uncles there, and they sitting in their straw hat drinking their cognac, and
Yes.
they be like, man, whoever she is, she bad. She bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. They be like, every time I'm in the Cadillac, I gotta put that on because I know somebody gonna stop me. You know what I mean? So, you know,
Yes.
that record is really, really, really tough though. And with springtime and summertime coming, it's gonna be a favorite, because you know when you got your records playing at cookouts,
Yes.
and you know the pool parties, and you got them playing at, you know, the grown folks galas, and you know, so you know it's a really, really groovy type record, and you just giving it to them raw, man. You know, you can't do it and be like, wow, did she just say that? That's what I'm talking about. So, you know, that's a very, very, very good record. So, um, I don't know if you are are you are you in that Southern Soul arena yet?
So this is how I approach the genre that I'm working in right now. I'm a soul singer.
Okay.
I'm a soul blues singer. And there are quite a few of soul blues singers in the Southern soul genre because Southern soul, you know, has a marriage in its of itself of blues and
Hmm.
country, and Zydeco and Trail Ride are all mirrored into marriage into this to this sound.
You're right.
I don't sing traditional Southern soul music. I don't have a lot of traditional Southern soul songs. And so I partnered with someone amazing to make my first two introductions into the genre, in a gentleman by the name of Cecil Green, who's nominated for a Grammy this year, multi-platinum. And he is responsible for a lot of Tucker's early songs and a lot of the Book of Love, and
Uh-huh.
those kinds of things.
Well,
Candyland is
well,
Cecil.
stepping is definitely a Southern Soul record.
Oh yes,
Facts.
oh yes, and that Cecil sound, marriage with my voice, we thought would be a great introduction into the genre.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
Be-
love, and I'm
yeah, that's
appreciative of embracing it.
yeah, that's Betty Wright and Millie Jackson all over again.
Yes.
Facts. Facts,
And those
man.
are that goes back to my grandmother and her roots, King Jacob, and coming from a small town in Oklahoma where there's dirt roads in and out, and then coming up to Kansas City when she got a little older. She brought that Southern root into my life, and she loved Johnny Taylor and she loved B.B. King, and so we listened to all of that music, Betty Wright, when I was growing up. So and it's quartet, that quartet sound, that
Yeah,
mighty
of course it
thousand
is.
joys. Yeah, it is. If you can
Yeah,
sing quartet, you can sing Southern soul music,
that's right.
flat out. It's much the same. And so a lot of my upbringing that we talked about early helped gear me towards this genre. But a good friend of mine, which is a producer on a lot of my records, because I'm going to keep dropping records. I have a lot locked and loaded. But he thought that I would be wonderful in this particular genre and lane and region of music 8-9 years ago. And I was still up here in Kansas City singing, you know, jazz and some
Listen,
R&B.
man. Listen.
He was like,
Yeah,
Shyvana, go
Kansas
down.
City. You know, I ain't gonna. I ain't gonna. I say I don't know about the music scene, but this is what I do know. I have an ear. I know music, and
Yeah.
I definitely know when you come to the real South, the real Southern region, and you be like, I live here now. It's gonna be a rap. That's all I'm gonna tell you. It's gonna be a rap.
Well, I love
It's
it.
gonna be.
I'm when I tell you, we'll go to the ZBT award that I won in December. Being
Uh,
embraced by the genre already has been its own reward because I'm home. Imagine being here, which I love Kansas City with everything. And I love the community of music here, but it wasn't my genre. And so to take a soul singer to where soul singing is birthed, I'm home. And that
yeah.
is why I've been embraced, and the music has been able to move all over the country now because I'm actually naturally in the place and in the genres that I was supposed to be in, which is soul music. But I just happen to be now in the region that embraces it more wholeheartedly than home. Regrettably, it's just the genre is just a little bit foreign up here for right now. Hopefully, it'll come along. But
No, I'm looking. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to it. So, we're about out of time, so we're gonna definitely let you give your shout outs and tell them what's coming up next for you. And after you do that, I want you to talk to these Southern Soul artists and give me the top 5 features that you want to get done before 22 is up.
okay. So my next upcoming song is going to be called Gimme That. I absolutely love it. It's a really fun, dope record, and it's going to drop mid-March. This upcoming Tuesday, I'm going to be dropping the official music video for Stepping Out. So make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube page and my Facebook like page because I will be doing a world premiere on those pages on Tuesday. Also, I just want to thank everybody that has been a part of my journey. Connect the Dot, my booking agent, Tracy, whom I really appreciate. My music partner in crime, Wolf Mandelio, he's been amazing. And also Cecil Green, the producer of my first 2 records, and Kojak Charles, who Give Me That is going to be his joint. So and the DJs, King Jacob, the DJs have been so amazing. I don't have just one to thank. I have a network of DJs all around this country that have been supporting Shyvana, and for that I am totally grateful. Cannot
Right,
say
right.
about the DJs. The disc jockey has saved this gal's life. I'm so appreciative of them for every spin, all the feedback, the network of DJs that I've been able to be with and talk to on a regular basis now have been just crucial to pushing me forward. So I can't say enough about them. Now it's time to talk to the Southern Soul world, which I love. I'm appreciative of them. I would love to collab with Mr. Jeter Jones, Chris Yayo. I would love to collab with King South. I think he's dope. King George. Oh my God. If he ever wants to meet Shyvana and get on a record with me, let's go.
I got you. I got. Don't worry. Don't worry. I can plug you in with King South and King George. You know, no,
I love King South.
and Jeter Jones.
Yes, all of them.
Yeah.
That's 4. Soul Collective is just 2 of the most amazing artists that I've met. And I'm already collabing with my music partner, Wolf Mandelio. We're already collabing. We've got a song dropping next month together.
Okay.
So I've already started kind of collabing with some of the artists in this genre. But those are my top 5 guys that I would shout out that I know are just killing the game right now.
Okay. 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 Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the stepping video dropping in.
Yes.
I got a few. I got one promoter I know I'm gonna push it to, and you know, and I'm gonna
And
definitely
I and
tell
I have
you.
to thank you too, because I appreciate your candor, and you know, I'm never too much to say that knowledge is power, and you give a lot of that to the artist, King Jacob, and for that I appreciate it. I
You're
genuinely do.
welcome. You're most definitely welcome. So we can all win as one. Whether it's
That's
a
right.
promoter, manager, artist. We all can strive, man, because we
Right.
definitely we definitely all are part of that Southern soul.
Yeah,
That soul music lives inside of us. So
it does.
and that soul music is from our Black heritage. So with
Right.
that being said, I'm just grateful that I can have you on the platform,
Yeah.
and like you did get a chance to speak to Nicole today, and I'm grateful that y'all
Yes.
got a chance to speak, and we definitely held it down for her. So
Oh yes.
we just send our thoughts and prayers with her, and
Absolutely.
all the above. So
Wonderful. I look forward to working with her as well. And she was so enlightening. And, you know, just meet a team of people that really care. That's always important to an artist. And so tonight I'm full. I'm grateful. And this has been great.
all right, so there you have it, man. This is the Winding Down Podcast, Black Night Conversations, sponsored by Exquisite PR Firm, with your co-host King Jacob, in absence of the celebrity publicist Nicole Jordan. We do thank you. We thank you for your love, respect, and your gratitude. And you have also heard the voice of the honorable and the exclusiveness of Shyvana Adams, which you will see on a global standpoint, and I'm pretty sure that you'll see her selling out arenas pretty soon. So we do thank you, Shyvana, for coming through.
Thank you as well, Jacob. I appreciate it.
All right, you have a good night.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.